Hi, good evening, everyone. A very warm welcome to the BTX Roadshow 2021. I'd first like to introduce myself. My name is Dr. Harpreet Seth. I'm the head of architecture at the School of Energy, Geoscience, Infrastructure and Society, which is called AEGIS, at the Heriot-Watt University in Dubai. And today I'm going to be talking about regional technology and innovation trends smart cities, a topic which is very relevant today in these present times where we are designing smart cities of tomorrow. So, what is essentially a smart city of tomorrow, and what is really in? The in is being inclusive, smart cities of the future and of the tomorrow. So, the question that I want to really address today is the question which is very relevant, which is technology and smart cities creating a divide? And you might ask, what is this divide about? This is a divide between the haves and the have nots, a digital divide. It is a financial divide, a population divide, a contextual divide. Yes, it is a world which is a world of globalization, but at the same time, we are beginning to see a concept, an idea which actually hinges on deglobalization. So, if this is the context which we are working in, then how can the Industry 4.0 promote inclusion? Is it really important? It is very, very critical to the health of our cities and to the well being of our citizens. So, these smart built environment enablers, what would they essentially do? They would create and look towards livable smart cities, to people centric smart cities, to healthy smart cities, to community responsive smart cities, and to inclusive smart cities. So, I have a question and I want all of you to reflect on this. The image that you see is a global image of skyline of developing and well developed countries and cities all over the world. Is this our image of a smart city? Or is essentially this a smart city where you have these beehives building these beehives together? And this gives us a message of what? This is a message and a power of collaboration. So, is this really a smart city? Another image to ponder over, this is a natural cave. What does nature teach us? To live in harmony. Is this really a concept, an idea, or a theme for a future smart city? This is actually the Mesopotamia civilization. There are so many lessons to be learned in history, in our past, and in our roots. Could this be the future of our smart cities and the lessons that we learn in the past that we have had as a human civilization? So, very important to actually address, and which is also the theme for the roadshow today, is actually change. Smart cities of the future essentially need and must embrace change. It's a choiceless choice to embrace change. Why so? Because change is the only constant. Change is movement. Change is growth. And what do we as individuals, as societies and communities strive for is growth. Change is intelligent if we make intelligent choices and intelligent decisions. Change is the future. Change is forever changing. And yes, I think the biggest lesson that the pandemic has taught us is that change is uncomfortable and change is also unexpected. So, in designing these new technologies, these new innovative methods and strategies that we're designing for our smart cities, we have to design for the unexpected. We have to be designing and always expect the unexpected. And it is our readiness that will actually contribute to the success of what we design as smart cities for the future. If you reflect back into all the four industrial revolutions, mankind has forever been growing. We started with mechanization, we moved on to mass production, we also moved on in the industry 3.0 to automated production, and finally to machine learning and the smart factory. Now, these are choices which allow us to grow and prosper. So, when we look at the region itself, yes, the smart cities of the future need to be change centered. Absolutely. Yet, what is the most important yet? Yes, digital technologies, yet user friendly. Technological advancements, yet human centric. Industrial, yet there's an ease of use. It is integrated. It has a holistic approach, yet it is productive. It is available, yet it needs to be accessible. It is effective, yet needs to be inclusive. It is relevant, absolutely relevant in these modern times, in this contemporary world that we live in, yet it needs to be livable. And most important, in this design is how are we creating memories and experiences for the people and the communities that we are designing for. And in the region, we have a absolutely brilliant example, which is in Saudi Arabia, which is the NEOM project, the line, which is actually beginning to look into how we can essentially begin to design for people. So if we are designing these smart cities of the future, we need to remember that we are designing for real people. They are the real asset because they have the power to ignite change. But the question is, we may say we are designing for people, but are we only designing for able bodied? Are we only designing for the digitally literate, the financially stable, designing for an idealized society, people who are not realistic, unrealistic communities, people, and societies? So, what we really need to reflect and think back on is it is about people bringing and implementing that change. People are the change makers, and we want to design resilient smart cities. It is only people who make resilient communities. Moving on, smart cities of the future, which are designed for a positive impact on the lives and the behaviors of people. They are friendly, they are resilient city environments which create an inclusive society for all. And who are those all? They are disabled, they are the elderly, they are the financially disadvantaged, they are the digitally illiterate, probably also the digitally invisible, because our core focus as innovators, as designers, as decision makers essentially is the well-being of people, and it is the well-being of people which then contributes to healthy cities. So just trying to sum up on what are the key enablers in designing inclusive smart cities of the future. The first key enabler is people. It is not only about being smart, it is about being inclusive. Smart cities equates to smart people and communities. The smarter the people, the smarter our cities. And this human element is the pivot to these smart communities. And you might question, how do you create smart people? How do you create that change in people becoming smarter? And it is here that technology becomes that aid in educating and creating awareness. So we start and move our shift from being technology centric to citizen centric. We provide the same facilities, the activities, and the experiences. Only then, when UN says they have a sustainability development goal of making cities inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable, are we going to be able to create that seamless interaction between people, between the infrastructure that we provide, between cities, and between people and cities. So, in applying this inclusion lens, it is very important to engage diverse stakeholders in creating that solution and then sharing the benefits of the smart cities, which gives us a good quality of life, allows for economic growth, and allows us to contribute towards sustainable living within our cities. And these six enablers that we talk about when we talk about smart cities are essentials And having a holistic overview is very, very important, which ranges from data and security, digital and technology, the ecosystems, finance and funding, internal organization, and policy and regulation. So moving on from the first key enabler, which is people, to the second key enabler, which is collaboration. So what does collaboration really mean? It is community co-creation in these inclusive smart cities. So expertise from different fields comes together in contributing to change through innovation. And it is time, and I think more important than any other time in the history of the human civilization, is now for us to work together for a sustainable future. New community engagement models that brings the residents, the civic organizations, the businesses, the city stakeholders into this solution creation process. But it is not about only having dialogues. It is about creating real life working models, inclusive living labs. These are living laboratories which are dedicated public spaces to test smart solutions, but in a real life context. If we don't engage real people, if we don't create real life scenarios and real life context, then we are absolutely failing in just creating concepts and ideas and not really implementing them or looking at the impact that they have. This allows us to then understand how we interact with the residents and the infrastructure. We can possibly use multimodal crowdsourcing, and very important is the feedback from the community. The third key enabler is actually being adaptive. So we need to move from smart to being adaptive, because the newest, the latest, the sleekest technology is very soon going to be outdated. So all the solutions and our future hinges on how adaptive our technologies, our innovative designs and solutions really are, because that is what drives the communities to be resilient in the face of the unknown or new challenges and problems which we have never really faced. The fourth enabler, in my mind, and the fourth key is so important. Every piece of technology, every new innovation, every new trend, every new digital platform creates an experience. Yes, you may say user experience, but it is this experiential nature of what we create in the future that is very important, because these experiences are what creates memories. And we must not forget these experiences for people from all different backgrounds, all different cultures, all different age groups, because only then are we essentially creating a inclusive society. The last enabler, very important, is livable futures. How can we create a livable future? And that lies in the fifth key, which is the context. Now, you might argue, we talk about globalization, but isn't the global becoming more important? Yes, global awareness, but addressing the local too. Because slowly, I think one thing which is really highlighted during the pandemic is deglobalization may be the new response. Context is important because the resources and the innovation needs to respond to that context to create a sense of belonging, to create a sense of well-being within the community, and create a sense of culture and a culture of integrity. So in conclusion, what I would really want to highlight is, when we talk about any new technologies in which we see in the region, when we talk about new innovations and new trends, some are always going to be tangible, but there is so much that is intangible, and that really has an impact on the city and its people. So we need to move from smart to smarter smart, from exclusion to inclusion, where we can work collaboratively together and not essentially be designing for the ideal future. So what we do, we think we are designing for an ideal future, and then accept that these people are going to be catching up We need to design these smart technologies, smart living, a smart city that is for the people, thus by the people, but also people not easy to design for and not really forgetting those people. So, to conclude, I would just want to add the possibilities of positive impact through the design of these smart cities is limitless. And if you have any questions, I would be very happy to answer them. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Harpreet. Absolutely a brilliant presentation, very tangential to the usual type, putting humans in the center of everything. And I really liked some of the key takeaways which were there. I mean, designing for real people, expect the unexpected, like you said. You design for something much more ahead, but also plan for the unexpected. A question coming in over here, in your experience and based on this presentation, and of course all your forward thinking on the possibilities, which use case do you think works well to start a smart city? Where would one begin from? It's a bit more on the nuts and bolts side.
Okay, so I think what we really need to accept is so many times. So I'm an urban designer myself. I think urban planning is absolutely critical, having a master plan, a vision to the future. And I think the region has been doing very well with that. But one thing we as designers, as innovators, as thinkers, critical thinkers, need to essentially accept is that cars are here to stay. And if the automobile is here to stay, what is that intelligent technology, intelligent thinking, intelligent people coming together create a balance between the car and the pedestrian? It is not this over that or making a choice, because both are here to stay and both are important to the well-being and the health of the city. And not only would it create healthy, sustainable cities, it would also create a model for sustainable living.
Fantastic, absolutely brilliant answers. So thank you much for that, Dr. Harpreet, and thank you for your great presentation.
Thank you. It was my pleasure to be there with all of you. Thank you so much. Thank you.